All right, thank you guys. The Clippers take on the Suns game one. And that's going to be a 3:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Phoenix. The Suns are the 3.5-point favorite at home with a total at 221 juice to the over. And if you like the Clippers in an upset on the road here, they're plus $1.40 for some money line cash. Now, this is normally the part of the video where I promote my premium picks on my Patreon website, but we're in such a slump right now on that page that I actually can't, in good conscience, promote any of my packages today. But we do have 6 premium picks on that website here today. So if you do want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, the link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, the Clippers have shown a ton of resiliency, ripping off 4 straight wins against Utah after being down 2-0. Having said that, though, Kawhi Leonard is not traveling with the team today. He's still rehabbing that knee injury he suffered in the Jazz series. The Clippers are already in the bottom half of the league in offensive rebounding here, and they're also going to have to look to Paul George for the majority of their points here tonight. He's shooting just 36% from beyond the arc in the playoffs. So for a team who's really thrived on the 3-ball this year, their leading scorer that's going to be on the floor here tonight hasn't been all that effective with the long ball. Now, Los Angeles has also gotten the W in only 7 out of 14 ball games when catching plus money this year. So they haven't been outstanding as the underdog. And of course, they're taking on a Phoenix team who won their last 7 straight. And they also successfully cashed in against the number in 8 out of their last 10. Now, the Suns have played their best basketball this year at home, although these guys have been good either home or away as well. They've been pretty much good everywhere. But Phoenix is currently 31-10 at the Phoenix Arena, and they successfully covered the number in 66% of those contests. They've also played superb defense on their home court as well. They're in the top 5 in defending the 3-ball at home. Just 106 points a night they gave up as the home team as well. Devin Booker is scoring over 27.5 points a game in the postseason. 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the guard. D-Book's also drilling 92% of his free throws. Meanwhile, DeAndre Ayton's averaging over 15 points a night in the postseason himself, along with double-digit boards. Now, Chris Paul is sitting this one out here today in COVID protocol. Good to see hundreds of millions of vaccines distributed and still people in COVID protocol somehow. Nice job, NBA. Doing a good job there. But either way, it's probably going to be a nice little break for Chris Paul. Should see him return to this series fresh. And speaking of fresh, another factor to keep in mind is that Phoenix has played 3 less postseason games than their counterparts. The Suns have gotten to this point in the playoffs playing just 10 games. It actually took the Clips 13 games to get to this point themselves. But overall, we're looking at a Phoenix team who's fantastic on defense, and they really get the job done under the basket as well. They're in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage, and they're also in the top 3 in shooting from the stripe as well. The Suns are scoring 116 points a night on their home court. When it comes to the total in this one, I actually think defensive play is going to be affected with the absence of Paul and Leonard. A lot of people would think the scoring will be mostly affected, but I think it's going to be the defensive play that is really affected with the absence of those 2 guys. The Suns also saw 3 out of their last 5 ball games get over the line, 23-18 to the over as the home team this year. Meanwhile, the Clippers saw 5 out of their last 7 get over the total themselves. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Phoenix. I'm going to lean toward the Phoenix Suns minus 3.5 and the over 221 and a hook. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Hawks-Sixers Game 7, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, obviously, this one's all knotted up at 3 games apiece. but it's the Sixers who are the 7-point favorite on their home court. Total's 215.5. And if you like the Hawks to advance into the Eastern Conference Finals, they're plus 250 for an upset win. Now, I do think there are several factors potentially going against Atlanta in this one. I'll start with kind of a conspiracy type theory, which holds a little water, but certainly something to think about as the NBA is they are a business. They're in the entertainment business. I think a Sixers-Bucks Eastern Conference Final has a lot more marketability than an Atlanta-Milwaukee one, especially with kind of the Ben Simmons drama that's ensuing in Philly. Having said that, though, I guess I can debunk my own theory in the sense that Trae Young has been an absolute pleasure to watch in these playoffs. And, he may have equal draw with regard to interest and viewership, compared to the Sixers. Also, with the lackluster performance of Ben Simmons in the playoffs here for Philly, his minutes were significantly cut in Game 6. He actually had a guy named Tyrese Maxey who not only outscored Ben, but actually took about 10 minutes of floor time away from Simmons in that contest. So this Simmons thing is definitely a problem for Philly. Now, another problem for the Sixers has been this Hawks defense. Atlanta's held Philly to 106 points or less in their last 3 straight meetings. And as I insinuated a few moments ago, we have a Ben Simmons problem here. And when Ben Simmons is getting over 30 minutes a game for Philadelphia, that's over half the game that Atlanta's basically playing against only 4 scorers on the floor instead of 5. So when number 25 gets on the court, that is good news for Atlanta and Atlanta fans and Atlanta backers. Now, the Hawks have also been very good at rebounding this season. They're in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive rebounding. And speaking of defense, the Hawks are in the top 5 in defending the 3-ball, top 10 in fewest points allowed per game. Now, Trae Young's getting nearly 30 points a game in the postseason, couple of boards, and 10.5 assists a night for Ice Trae. Meanwhile, John Collins is averaging over 13.5 points a night himself in the playoffs, along with over 7.5 boards. Now, Collins is also drilling 40% of his three-pointers in the postseason. This is an Atlanta team who can kill you at the stripe. They're shooting 82% from the line in the playoffs when traveling. When it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta's last 3 outings with Philly stayed under the total. The Hawks have also gone 80% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Hawks plus 7, keeping this one close, and the under 215.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Phoenix minus 3.5 over 221 and a hook. I like the Atlanta Hawks plus 7 and the under 215.5. And one final reminder that today's free pick video was powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally today, don't forget to check me out on that website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into some shout outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Mr. Do Right, Calico Jones, Alex G. Shout out to TCGMD 2010. Shout out to Edward D, Tyler McCoy, Michael Williams, Kevin Taylor, Mike Wilkerson, and last but certainly not least, gotta give a shout out to my man, Corey Silva. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys do end up getting a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a package here today on my Patreon website, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of June. But as I typically say in most videos, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better it is for you. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.